What's up, everybody? King Shark Gaming here with Collider, and I just have to say, oh, that was maybe the most epic thing I ever saw. I am, of course, talking about the Mandalorian finale, Season 2. We have just the most epic finale of all. Dare I say, better than Revenge of the Sith. I don't know. I'm just.
Well, you better hold it there, King Shark. This one was pretty
Let me
exciting.
stop it right there. I have to introduce you. My bad. I'm joined, of course, today by Christian Fuck Off of Collider Media, your source for all gaming nerd geekdom.
Well, hello everyone. You know me. It's Christian Fuck Off, and I'm coming at you live from my house. That bitch.
So there are a lot of themes in Star Wars and in the Mandalorian, and I have to say, just the overall takeaway I have is that Star Wars is about killing and explosions that you look away from. Star Wars is about doing a backflip while you jetpack into a knee kick into a stormtrooper that can't even hit you in the first place because you're invincible.
Star Wars is about Ahsoka Tano. Star Wars is about Boba Fett. Star Wars is about the Slave One. And when it shoots a sonic boomer missile out the back, and it does the noise from the video game, you know, the one where it goes Star Wars is about putting a funnel in your mouth and shoveling everything you know down it.
Oh god, okay. Hey, what's up?
Hey, what a finale. So profound, it's made us YouTubers.
You know, I've never been so passionate about something as I am. The fact that Star Wars at its core is about fighting and lasers and backflips,
Killing, flipping, jetpacks.
grunting, lofty dialogue. That's what Star Wars is about.
I love morally muddied anti-heroes grunting as they maim nameless baddies.
I love Ben Shapiro with a dark saber versus the Star Wars Avengers of nothing.
Every episode is pretty much just standing in a circle and explaining why we're about to go kill all these people in whatever the next room they go in is. Because that's all they really do in this show, is they go to rooms and murder everyone inside and fly away.
And it's not just the murdering, it's the fact that it's done in the most absurd way possible. It is quite literally like watching the All-Star game where they're just slam dunking on people. They're completely invincible. It's doing backflips into explosions that you're not looking at. It's really just watching these superhumans pick on the little league team.
Wouldn't be a big deal if it didn't take itself so seriously the rest of the time. It doesn't, like, it can't make up its mind what it wants to be tonally, and it wasn't always like this stacked or this messy in terms of like everyone just feeling invincible or just everyone being able to eliminate an army with their hands tied up and blindfolded. I mean, last season didn't have those problems.
Remember episode 2 of last season. What do we have? We have Mando versus like a rhino, dude. Okay,
And Jawas.
and Jawas.
Literally Jawas.
Jawas were a threat.
They actually beat him. Like, they got him off the sandcrawler.
If Jawas showed up now, he wouldn't even look at them. He would shoot missiles out of his wrist and just blow them up. Boba Fett would fly by and just slaughter them ruthlessly. He'd be grunting like.
But that's cool. That's epic. That's the highest rated episode.
But there are characters that can be grunting and doing that whole thing fine. I love the Punisher show where he's doing that, but there's a character there. The difference here is that every single side character in this show is the same person. It doesn't matter if they're male, female, alien, robot. They're all just this grunting, boring person who will like occasionally do a little smirk at the camera. Okay, I have a bit of a game here to play. I have this character here. Her name is Fennec Shand. Firstly, at home, can you even think of who that is? Do you know who that is?
No.
Let's take it a step further. I want to ask, for those who know who Fennec Shand is, what is Fennec Shand's character? You know what it is? It's, I don't miss.
She has a sniper. She shoots it.
Has a robot belly.
My favorite line is in the finale when she goes, when Mando says, "Open the door." She goes, "Are you crazy?" I think that's her only line the whole episode. Does this look fucking boring? I know. and that's, yeah, like that's the whole problem, is that all these characters don't do anything the whole episode. Every episode, all anyone does is kill. And if that's all anyone does, then what's the point to begin with? They have no point. They all do the same purpose, and it's not even a new purpose.
At worst, you have that, where they're not even getting screen time. But, you know, when we take Boba Fett out here, it's just as bad, if not worse, because they're trying with him. But I'm going to ask the same question. What is his character? Does he have a single trait? Does he have anything other than badass?
He's cool.
Shoots explosion. Doesn't look at it.
He's the guy this show is meant to be based on.
These are the types of people that we're stuck with here. And keep in mind, the costumes just look ass. We have this Comic-Con level grouping of people that looks like a Star Wars fan just vomited on the screen and picked out random things. And all of these people have no character, no chemistry. They are all just badass, kills people. How do you feel about Cara Dune?
She fucking sucks. She's the worst. Like she is definitely runner up for worst in the series.
They offer nothing apart from each other and nothing interesting to the show. And that's what's important here, because at the end of the day, you can change an action scene to where you don't require 50 killing machines. You can just have a more stripped down show like the first season. At the end of the first season, what did we end with? There were like 3 people, one of which was like that old dude, stuck in this building, and the I Have Spoken guy. Remember, he was driving away with the child, and then he got shot, and there was that like big climactic moment. There was tension. Things felt like they mattered, and you didn't just think, "Oh, Mando is invincible. He can just walk out and just kill 100 stormtroopers in a row." Because what are they going to do to him? They're going to shoot him. He's invincible. The villains too are just horrible, where most of them are just these complete bozo McGees that offer nothing, are completely the same as each other, and they usually say something along the lines of, "We're not so different after all, you and I, Mando." You're either a doofus McGee or infantry fodder, and either way your only purpose is to get style dunked on by the all-star team of superheroes. The main villain even, Gideon, is hardly in the show. He's like absent the whole time, so it's like what's the point here? It doesn't even matter. He doesn't even show up till the very end. So it was important to set up that all these characters are annoying or dumb or pointless, because in the finale, which is what we just watched, that's the whole setup, is this whole team up of characters. I think it was their way of trying to make it seem like stuff happened in the other episodes. Like, we couldn't have been here without that stuff happening. But all of these characters feel useless, boring, or annoying, so you're more just wishing the season didn't happen.
I mean, like the like cluster missiles out the kneecaps is really what does it for me. Like,
we have
yeah,
people grapple hooking one stormtrooper into someone else's rocket boosted kneecaps. It's literally just existing for fans to go, "Oh wow, that was epic."
It's so video gamey.
In this finale, after they board the ship and just completely, all-star game, triple-double dunk on all of them, we do get one good fight, and it was Mando versus one of those Iron Man robot things, right? I had lost so much hope from the previous episodes that the second that the robot had its fist up to Mando, I thought for sure one of the other side characters that I hate was going to come in and just save the day and shoot him. But no, you actually get a punch, and then another punch, and then another punch. And it's episodes like the second episode where Mando is dealing with all those spiders and it's overrunning him that end up being, to us, the actually good ones because there's tension, there's a threat. And so this fight was like easily way better than watching any style points 360 no scope. In season 1, we're ending with a TIE fighter. The big fight at the end is Mando versus a TIE fighter. Again, like I was saying, it's grounded. It actually feels like there's danger here.
It didn't need to be over the top.
Here, what we have is this superhero group that barges into this giant ship with probably hundreds of TIE fighters in it, hundreds of stormtroopers in it, just killing them all. And so Gideon, who used to be threatening, is literally within 10 minutes, his entire fleet that he commands, he's like doing the full on Ben Shapiro. Well, hypothetically, for the sake of argument,
Oh my god, the Darksabers pointed at baby Grog. What if he fucking kills him? Then Moff Gideon tried to pull a fast one on the Mando. So, basically, Mando asked for the child, and Moff Gideon promptly responded with uncomparable wit. Well, Mando, if hypothetically, you had something that I wanted, and then hypothetically you took that something that I wanted from me, and then hypothetically I got that something back. There are no survivors on the bridge because your platoon has eliminated them all. For the sake of the argument, they have eliminated everyone on the bridge. Now, hypothetically, you may now take the child. For logically, there is no other outcome in which I can survive. Therefore, I must logically give to you what you want, as for you to give me logically what I want to give you. For sake of the argument, to help me. You may take the child. This is not a trick. It's a trick!
This is again where we're talking about fights that don't matter. You just gotta love how they mention, oh, well, a Darksaber can't cut through a Beskar. It's like, why the hell is he even using it? He might as well have been using a wooden stick. Like, Mando is just taking, like, 10 slashes in a row. Nothing matters. Where is any stake here when this dude's armor is literally not able to get sliced by the saber? So when they're like holding their staff and the saber up to each other, it's like, what does it matter? He can just slice them. It's not going to work. I don't think season 1 was that bad with the Beskar. I didn't think of it like this invincible force field around him until now. I don't know why this suddenly.
It's a consequence of cranking it up to 10. You didn't have these outlandish situations in season 1. Like, we were fighting Jawas for half the season. But in this season, we gotta fucking take a funnel, shove it in your fucking throat, shove Ahsoka in there, shove Bo-Katan in there. Who the fuck is that? Doesn't matter. It's just, yeah.
And Bo-Katan, we just get the most just well-written, excellent setup here, where the Darksaber now, it's supposed to belong to Mando because he beat the dude in a fight, and now the other girl can't take it, even when he's offering it. Even if we subjected ourselves to just the pure stupidity of that as a concept, you have to consider, like, why wouldn't the girl say, hey, I know you're going after the child, it's probably like Gideon's going to be there. Why don't you not fight him, let me do it, so I don't have to like do this whole fighting thing. You'd think she would have like told him. You'd think maybe the fact that Mando beats Gideon and takes the saber without killing him, maybe just have her fight him and then she doesn't even need to kill
Look,
him.
no matter how you want to logic it out, it should have came up in their plan.
It's just so stupid, and I would have been like a lot more upset if it mattered, but they don't even address it. They just end it, which makes me think like they might try and do this in the third season, which I just cannot think of anything that interests me less.
I can think of something. The Book of Boba Fett.
God, so with cranking it up to 11, we have these the robot dudes. It's literally like when you have the first Alien movie where there's one alien and it's really intense, just like in the first fight with the robot. But then, you go to the later Alien movies and there's like hundreds of them. So it's like, how hard can it really be to take one down if you're going to do that? Like, there's no way when you have a setup like that, which you only did that setup because you felt the need to have the audience go, ooh, bigger number of thing. This is really hard. Like, you could have just not done that setup, and then you wouldn't have to have some stupid way to write it off. Because there's no way they can take all those robots out, so you have to have an unsatisfying random way to just do it. As they're coming back, you just gotta love the shot where Gideon gets knocked over and there's a gun and he like winks at the camera. It was just like, what the hell? I couldn't believe. I was like, really? We're doing this? He's gonna pull out with the gun and like, nothing is going to happen.
It doesn't matter.
With that.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because everyone in that room is bulletproof. Everyone in that room
Yeah,
is bulletproof.
he succeeds
and has
too. He just
99
starts
evasion.
he shoots like 8 times before they even do anything. They're just letting it happen, but it doesn't matter because they're invincible.
He puts 8 into blue Boba Fett girl, and it just doesn't fucking matter. It almost looked like she died.
Now we get to this point where it's like, oh, what's gonna happen? How are they gonna get out of this one? The robots are punching the door open. And I want to just take a little flashback to the first episode of this season. When we were watching it, we knew that Ahsoka was supposedly in the show, and we were a little worried because we really liked the grounded nature of the first season, right?
Just
And we were really worried that in the finale of this season, it was going to be like Ahsoka versus some stupid Empire thing. It wouldn't even be the Mando show anymore. That's what our worry was. But almost jokingly at first, I was saying, "Oh, I bet Luke's going to show up." And I don't have proof of this, but I don't really think it was that far-fetched of a thing because you think with Star Wars, they're always going to do the most obvious stupid thing. And they've already CGI brought Mark Hamill back before, and he's alive at this time. So of course he's going to show up, right? It's such a dumb moment that the fans are going to freak out about that they had to do it. They could not resist. And the second that Grogu calls for a Jedi in one of those episodes towards the end, it was like a fact. It was like, literally, Luke is going to show up. This is going to be the stupidest thing ever. Luke's going to show up. It's going to be CGI. And even then, I was still kind of surprised when it happened because I was just like, oh my god, they really did it. The show is no longer about Mando. This is the climax of the season. Maybe the last season we'll ever see of this show. Probably not. But this could have been the ending. And what do we get at the end? Luke Skywalker shows up and kills everybody easily. That's the Mandalorian. That's the show, the Mandalorian. I mean, we're not even talking about the CGI looking like Battlefront 2. Just and of course the voice doesn't sound right. It's not even that it was that bad, but it was like you'd think even with that barrier of knowing it was going to look ass, they couldn't help themselves. And that's what really disappoints me. You would think at least George Lucas, back in the day when he's making all his crazy prequels or whatever, like he could only go so far because of the technology. He'd really try to push it, but oh my god, could you imagine if he knew how to de-age actors? He would have gone insane with that. It would have been horrible.
just didn't want it to turn into the Ahsoka Boba Fett show. And by the end, it's literally started both a Boba Fett and an Ahsoka show. So, For as much as it disappoints, it's like almost equally impressive how shamelessly obvious they will choose to go every single time.
Well, when you take risk with a movie, everybody hates it. Oh,
Everybody gets racist. Oh, but you know what I loved? More than anything else in this episode. Oh, can you can you guess? Luke Skywalker.
Skywalker. Screw you, Ryan Johnson. Now, if someone asked me to describe Luke as a character, maybe his personality, I would say badass.
He has a green lightsaber.
I gotta say, when Luke showed up in this one going meow meow meow, meow, I couldn't help but be reminded of Rogue One. Darth Vader. I love, by the way, that while I was watching it, I was thinking in my head about, oh, I'm sure the second I go on Twitter after this, I'm gonna see a shot of Darth Vader from Rogue One and Luke Skywalker from this next to each other and say like, wow, badass. To these people, these are the people that are gonna say, Ryan Johnson messed up Luke's character. The character of Luke to them isn't anything special. What it is literally being badass. The Luke that was in this show at the end here is not the real Luke that you're missing from The Last Jedi. It's not. It's literally a video game character. In the last minutes of the show, Mando takes off his helmet, and you're like, oh, right, this is the Mandalorian show. I forgot.
Think back to like season 1 preseason finale. Quill died. I actually remember being upset about that. There was stakes back then. I guess was the difference.
The characters were maybe interesting.
Yes, characters were interesting.
Likeable.
They did more than kill. In fact, they didn't do any killing. He didn't do any killing at all. He was a pacifist character, and he was probably the best character in the whole series so far. I mean, the Mandalorian isn't even a very good character. He's literally just like a blank video game RPG who just I do good, like I do good thing. I'm badass and I'm good.
And I gotta say, at the end of the season, for all the killing, not one character that was important, and this is good or bad, died. All of the people that went on that ship survived. Even the main villain, Gideon, even the cloning guy, all of them are alive. And this isn't even just this episode, this is every episode. Was there a single person that died that was, like, important?
Nope, nothing has changed. We're effectively in the same spot, minus I've been visually scarred for life by Battlefront 2 Mark Hamill kidnapping Grogu.
We are in the same spot, except we lost one of the more interesting aspects of the show.
Yeah, it's a shame that Baby Yoda did not do more. I feel like he was barely in the season, at least compared to the last. Like, again, that's just the more you think about the last season, the more disappointed you feel about this one. I feel like that's...
Yeah, you gotta love how every single episode, and this is both seasons really, just ends with Mando flying away. He just flies away in a ship, and most of the time, nothing changed from when he landed. There were moments in the first season, like the last 2 episodes, where they didn't do that, and it was, like, very good. That is where you had the most weight happening, you had the most interest for the next episode, because there were things that had lasting impacts. It couldn't just end with him flying away, right? And even the first season, like I said, is very guilty of that. But here, it's just the entire season feels like we could have just flown to Luke, dropped off Grogu, and it would have been the same. Nothing would have been different. Now, I wanted to look at the IMDb scores for some of these episodes here. There's an episode rating system where you can look at each episode and what fans rated it. And looking at this season here, almost all the episodes got like a 9 or higher. I wish I was more surprised with what I found here, and that was firstly that the worst episode of the season, according to anybody who is nerdy enough to make an IMDb account, is episode 2, the one with the spiders, which was just funny. because both of us would say that was definitely the best episode of the season.
Like, by a lot.
By like a large amount. It is focused on Mando. The side character is this alien, the passenger. Even the passenger as a character is more interesting because you have like this whole language barrier that's going on that gives like a little bit more intrigue to their journey. And this character isn't just this boring blank slate, I kill everybody and I'm badass.
It wasn't just another video game protagonist with a fucking kill death ratio in the hundreds.
When those spiders show up, it's intense. There's so many of them, and like he actually feels vulnerable.
Because there's more, and then there's more,
And then there's a giant one.
and they go further, and you're like, how could this get worse? Like, those are always the best episodes when you keep going like, oh my god, like, how could this get worse?
There's a part where the ship almost takes off to get away, and then the giant spider lands on top of it. It's just like the perfect example of it keeps getting worse and worse.
Well, that's really cool. That's really funny. But my favorite episode was when Boba Fett showed up and he did the killing.
Well, you would never guess what the two highest rated episodes were. The Ahsoka episode, which was a fine episode. It was just kind of boring, especially when you have to consider that the show should be able to function on its own without needing to know who Ahsoka is. So when you don't really know this character, you're just left with this boring Jedi portrayal that we got, where it's like,
I honestly, I feel even harder on that episode. I think that episode sucked. I think if the name Ahsoka doesn't have any weight for you, that did nothing. I mean, like
it's another
you
side
can't
adventure with
appreciate.
nothing happening.
Again, we're focusing on other people, which I think ultimately is just wasting time. And sure, maybe this name has more weight to other people, but that shouldn't be a requirement to the viewer.
Now that kind of
I don't watch the cartoons, so I just don't care. And I can see and I can respect that it was well done, but I'm never going to be able to appreciate it to the same extent that these nerds do, or just have it be its own thing. Like Ahsoka can still be cool in live action, but why are you just further bogging down my Mando show that's already not about Mando anymore? It's just the further we go on, the less about Mando it gets, and we're just stuffing it more. We just have this funnel. Dave Filoni has a funnel in your throat, and he's just shitting down names and references, and you love them because you know them. You recognize them.
Ahsoka, her episode, it's the fact that that's how you describe it. It's the Ahsoka episode. Because the only relevant stuff is happening with Ahsoka, and it would be interesting maybe if Ahsoka was like, I don't know, part of this show. No, that's her episode. Her episode is seemingly existing to just set the character up for a spin-off series and have nothing else happen. Well, that was a 9.6 out of 10, but you know what? The finale got a 9.9, which, I mean, we went in depth about that. You know what's funny is I think if Luke wasn't there, like, I wonder how many points it would go down. I'm sure it would still have gotten like a 9.4 or whatever, but I would bet that literally Luke being there made people just go 10, 10.
Isn't this a fuck you to Ryan Johnson?
Now, the worst episode of this season by far got an 8.5 in comparison to, by the way, the 7.9 that episode 2 that we thought was the best got. This episode 4, The Siege, was horrible. And I just wanted to get into this one just a little bit, just because it bugged me so much. And the fact that this is like 6 points higher than the best episode of the season, in our opinion, is just crazy. You show up because Mando needs to repair his ship. And they literally say, hey, want to go do a thing while your ship repairs? That's how you know instantly that nothing significant will happen in the next 30 minutes.
Thanks, show. I'll just skip to the next one.
All of the characters here suck, and the only one that was actually in common with the last episode, which was a similar thing of like a group doing a thing, was Cara Dune, which we obviously hate. You also had that one dude, the older guy. He's fine, I guess. He was somewhat interesting last season. Here he's just kind of boring. Just kind of, hey, I'm the friend. Then you got the comic relief of Blue Fish Guy, who I'm not even going to check what his name is. I don't care. I could not have thought of anybody I'd want back less than the dude that introed the whole show. This stupid fish. I remember being worried when that scene happened in the very beginning of the show. I was worried. He tries to ham it up even more to the point where they're literally repeating the same joke of having the older dude go, "Hey, fish boy, go open that door for us." And then fish boy goes, "Me? You want me to do that?" And then he goes, "Yeah, I'll knock 10 years off your sentence if you do that." "Okay, I'll go do that." That's a joke that they did like 5 times. So there's no humor. These characters are annoying. You hate them. The dude is literally bumbling around like an idiot, but he's still invincible because he has the plot armor of not being able to get shot. And they just bumble into
But
this base, bumble out, and on the way bumbling out, there was a part where Mando jetpacks off, and the show literally abandons him for like 10 minutes. There's 10 minutes where it's just these three characters, Kara, the old guy, and the fish, in this little buggy driving. And I could not think of anything more boring than those three characters in a chase where you know that they're going to be invincible and nobody's going to die or get hurt. And it was just a perfect example of how ass the show was with just completely shelving Mando at times for these side characters that are all just complete ass.
tagging along on these useless tasks that bring us nowhere. It's just wasted time.
I wanted to bring out a line that meant a lot to me. This was in episode 1. I believe it was the marshal who said it. He said, "I guess every once in a while both suns shine on a womp rat's tail." I just thought that was a good line. I just wanted to bring that up.
The costumes are ass, and it's not even like I feel like it's not even like a production value thing. It's not like they look cheap. I feel like they're just designed poorly.
Yeah,
Like there's
I'll
kind of a
flash some on
weird.
screen. Like, boom, 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 boom. I don't know which ones I'm going to pick, but there's a bunch of them. Boom.
There's a real weird vibe that this show has. Some of the costumes, and I feel like some of the set designs also. They kind of feel too real. They feel too earthy sometimes. Like they don't really feel like I'm on a outer space planet with like maybe a similar terrain to Earth. And no, it just feels like they're in California, like in the forest.
Dude, episode 6 and 7 both felt like that. Those were the one with Grogu having like that meditation with all the people showing up. That literally looks like they just were in the studio and then they drove like 20 minutes out to some random part of a desert in Hollywood. They're on Planet Hollywood. God, you gotta love like even the more amateur fan film type things where like the aspect ratio changes because they shot the action scene on two different cameras, and as they swap between cuts, the aspect ratio is just changing. It was doing that in the first episode a lot. There were a few other ones where it would do it. It was just really weird. Another technical thing was just sort of the idea of having a character talk, and then as they're talking, you kind of cut away like right when they finish, and instantly their positioning is just slightly moved. Their mouth is completely shut. Their facial expression is different. This happened in the finale with Gideon when he's trying to be intense, like 4 times in a row, where he'd be talking and then it would just cut, and he's just like still faced. It was so weird. Well, something that would interest me is if we had like a Family Guy version of the Mando season 2.
Dude, it writes itself.
I can just think of great things like, Peter just kind of shooting while he's walking backwards, like, backward shooting,
Well, if there's one thing that I've loved about this season, is that nothing has changed. It's been real easy for my peanut brain to digest and understand.
You see, I'm not a fan of when things change. My wife left me, and that left quite the scar on me mentally. Now, I like that nobody died because we can do spin-off shows now. We have The Legend of Bo-Katan, Ahsoka Tano and the Emerald Fleet, The Chronicles of Grogu, Bib Fortuna, The Prelude.
Well, I'm most excited for Ahsoka Tano.
I guess every once in a while, both suns shine on a womp rat's tail. That's a real fucking line.
Now, good thing I didn't turn off the credits early, 'cause
Boba Fett and the Legend of the Book of the I love his character because his character is that he grunts and kills people violently.
don't forget the grunting.
Now, I went to Comic-Con, and it turns out he's always in character. He wouldn't stop grunting and barking at me and my wife before she left me. Well, once again, I'm really happy that nothing happened. When I watch TV shows, it's usually just to combat my crippling alcohol addiction and to take me away from my horrible family life. So when too much happens, it can be a little confusing for me. Once again, I really like the books, I'm illiterate. I can't read.
Well, King Shark, we already got a taste of what Mandalorian on Mandalorian action can look like in this episode. Remember when Boba Fett grabbed Bo-Katan's friend by the fucking face and smashed her through a stone table so hard it crumbled?
Yeah, what a bitch.
Oh my god. And yeah, just when you thought the pain was over, you fucking click and see there's 7 more minutes.
So at the start of this post-credit scene, I had no idea what it was. And we're in Jabba's palace, right? And just the look of it, I was actually kind of surprised that more of the Mando didn't feel like it took place here. Like, this felt like very much straight out of episode 6, and I actually really liked the look of it. We had Bib Fortuna, like, fat. I just thought it was like cool just to kind of see the world where, you know, Jabba's dead, but that world is still alive, and Bib is now the sort of leader there, and he's all fat. And I thought maybe like Mando would show up here season 3, like this would be something interesting. But guess who comes down the staircase? It's Fennec Shand. And you know what Fennec Shand does? She kills every single interesting character in the room. We're left with nothing. But oh, I see a silhouette. Is that Mando's helmet? It's Robo Belly himself.
Boba Fett showed up in Under Armour and shot Bib Fortuna in the fucking face. It was epic.
And then he pulled his fat body from the throne, just threw him on the ground.
Fennec Shand sipping on some blue juice.
I love Fennec Shand.
Well, I think to conclude, I don't hate The Mandalorian. I don't hate The Mandalorian Season 2. I hate Cara Dune and I hate Fennec Shand. I'll be real.
I hate Boba Fett, to be honest.
I'm just a little disappointed. I'm a bit let down. I think back to the excited feelings I had throughout the first season. I think the gap between the 2 seasons is a pretty big one. They cranked it up to 10 and in the worst way possible.
I also do not hate The Mandalorian. I definitely prefer the first one, but it was still something to watch, I guess. It was interesting. It's well made, and I just can't help but feel completely hopeless in that we peaked. There is no way that any of these Disney Star Wars shows are going to be as good as Mando Season 1, and I don't even think it was that good. I just cannot see a timeline where they see this Season 2 and see it get even better reception, and then make an Ahsoka spin-off and a Boba Fett spin-off, and I just can't see a timeline where any of those are going to turn out any different from this. And if they do, maybe I'll like it, but the other fans, they're going to hate it.